Hey everyone, so I am here getting ready for some more beekeeping. It is August now and we are full on into a honey harvest season. So for the last few weeks, I have been able to put my honey supers on, which is just the box that you see stacked up. The bottom ones are called your brood chambers. After you have 2 or 3, then it's just honey. And with deeps, which is a like 9-inch, almost 10-inch box. Most people do 1 or 2. With mediums, you can do 2 or 3 for the bees to live in, and then anything above that is honey. So you put this queen excluder on, and I'm in this area of my shop. I have a pallet shelving here that I stack up wholly high with equipment. So this is a queen excluder. So you can see there's bits of wax on there. I'm going to clean this up so that it sits on like it's supposed to, and I'll actually save that wax. We make our own lip balm and hand creams, and we're going to be selling those in our Etsy store soon also, because we have been selling them locally with high demand, and people really like the chemical-free beauty products that you can get. So anything natural, and with beeswax, it's just so good for your skin. So I am harvesting off any wax off of these frames and boxes that I can. Now the bees will clean and reuse some of the wax as they can, but over time the wax gets darker just from travel through the hive. The more it's traveled on, the darker it gets. So like when you take off a honey box, it's nearly white because they build the comb to put the honey into, and then they cap it or cover it with wax to seal it in. The sealing it in keeps it from fermenting, so you always make sure that it's fully covered. Basically, they are taking the water out before they cover it with wax. So I'm doing some housekeeping here to get some more honey supers ready, and I'm just going to kind of show you my stash and what's going on. So this is a box, a super that it's referred to. This is a medium, and I believe this is just about 7 inches. I don't remember the exact dimensions, but this was on a hive that had failed last winter, and I had wax moths in it. So there's this cobweb type material that the wax moth leaves behind. I'm gonna give it a fresh coat of paint because occasionally, once I get out there, this might go on a hive that needs another super for their brood box. So just cleaning it all up to make sure that it's nice for them. And the key thing with these is the frame sits on this little shelf right here, and these are the frames. This is a pile I'm cleaning out, and you can see like the wax gets really dark. So I'm scraping all this wax out, and we're melting it, and that becomes our beauty products. Now, there's little trace bits of wax on this. This is a plastic foundation that's coated in wax, but then they coat it with wax also. So if I don't scrape it off completely, that's fine. But you got to make sure that it's clean here on the edges of wax and propolis. Otherwise, you start getting into trouble. By trouble, I mean it doesn't want to come out very good. So this tool is beveled on the sides there, so I can go along and scrape this all out. You can tell I'm not using a tripod right now. So I'll go through all of my honey supers and make sure that's all clean, and then this frame will sit right down in there, nice and flat, and they'll reapply wax and propolis to kind of seal in any empty spaces as they are working the hive. So like here, I've got some propolis here on the side. They are sealing in any cracks for winterization. So this was not just a honey super. Gonna have it all cleaned out and ready. So I've got 2 boxes here that I'm working on today, just waiting for some weather to pass. I was working on some manure in the barn earlier, and I'm just trying to do as much indoor work today as I can. So these are all my honey supers and brood boxes waiting to be put into use, and most of them are clean and ready to go, but these 2 were sitting on the outer part that I pulled in the spring. So I figure I might as well get them clean before they become a problem. So wax moths and other little critters, I saw some kind of little larva crawling on it. It's a little striped bug, and I remember looking them up a while ago. So this is a frame that was pulled out of a beehive that didn't make it, and it's got honey all in here that they didn't use, and it's all kind of chewed up because other pests found it and got into it, and this particular hive had the wax moth. So all this is unusable, so I have to cut all this all out, and the bees will clean this all up and reuse it. So I'm going to take everything out that I can. Some other little pests get in there too. There's this little striped bug, and I don't remember what it's called, but you just want to do housekeeping for them before. You don't want to give them something that's this dirty. And basically, you can reuse this equipment over and over until it becomes so bad that it's breaking and falling apart, or like the one hive I had actually had water get into it. It had too much moisture and the frames had actually dry rotted. So you can kind of replace the broken piece, but the frame itself is anywhere from $1 to $3, and the plastic part inside is reusable. So, you know, at some point you have to figure what is reusable and what you might want to get rid of. So believe it or not, I actually have a nice quiet time doing this. And this is one of those supers that I use that soy-based paint, so I'll give it a good scraping and give it a good coat of paint, because that soy-based paint did not hold up to a Michigan winter at all. Did you know that bee propolis and royal jelly are highly sought after in beauty products? So they actually started making propolis traps, and they have a pollen trap that you can put on your hive entrance also, just to collect excess pollen. And it's not actually taking it from the bees, it just kind of knocks some of the excess off their little pollen baskets that are on their legs as they're going into the hive. Interesting thing. It's really good apparently to use for people for like an immunotherapy with the pollen. So like I've seen bee pollen at Clorox in Lansing. It's my understanding that they make like a little tea out of it, or you know, just mix it in with their food, and a little bit at a time they just start to build up a tolerance. So if you can get it from a local beekeeper, that's even better, because then you're getting the pollens that are, you know, in your area that are bothering you. Now I did this about 2 weeks ago with some other hives that needed to get put into use. And it is amazing what a coat of paint will do to one of these, and just scraping it out and cleaning it. Now one of these boxes is about $23, and I bought them primed, I bought them painted. It seems like I might have even gotten a discount one time to have them shipped to me already built. But you can certainly order them unassembled and assemble them yourself. It usually does save on shipping. Now I do know when I did order the hive all assembled, the FedEx guy let the door smash the box on the way in, and I really needed that delivery. So it had to get sent back to Man Lake, sent back out to me in a separate order because they were back ordered. It's a terrible time to have that happen. Like I said before, with beekeeping, you've got to make sure that you keep extra things on hand for when you're going to need it. Probably one of the most intimidating things you'll come across is either doing the beehive splits when they're so crowded like they were last week. There were so many bees in there. Taking the honey boxes off. So I recommend if you're doing it your first time out, it's not a bad idea to do it in the afternoon when all the bees have left, and then you kind of have less to contend with. And I was actually reading an old book, and I've done it both ways, but they recommended putting your new honey super box underneath the one that's full, and then they'll finish processing the first box up higher while the worker bees are down low. They'll come up and get the other one ready to start storing honey. So that kind of keeps you in a honey flow pattern a little bit more steady. So that's a good tip to share. I've left my box on and put the new box on top of it also, but then they're traveling over the full honeycomb to get to the one that they're going to be working on next. See, what better to be doing in weather like this than to be getting some work done inside? You see, we have some outside work to do. We had a corn bin that we wanted emptied out, well, a corn trailer. So we shoveled that all out into the driveway so that it could get washed out, re-tarped and dry, so that when it's time to combine the wheat, then it can all have a place to be stored. Doing manure, getting the combining equipment ready for the wheat, getting the beehive equipment ready. It is still a busy day, even though it's raining. So for today's task, it's time to get to weed whacking around the bees. It's the middle of the day, most of the bees are out. It shouldn't agitate them too much. The weather has been a little more forgiving and reasonable today. And it's already been about 7 or 8 days since I've been here last. So it's time to check in on the bees again. And right in the center, it's really tall, it's grown up. I don't like to weed whack too much because I want to leave some of the flowering and blossoming weeds for them, but it just gets too hard to move around the hive. So hopefully we can do this without getting any bees mad at us. Usually starts easier than that. make it a lot easier. And not one bee sting either. That hive there was a little hot. They didn't like it so much, so I came back to them. But it's because they were all hanging out on their front door.